What's up guys, Marco here and welcome to today's video where I want to share some really good best practices on how you can take your Google Ads campaigns to the next level. So making more sales, saving money, basically outperforming your competitors. And I got these tips or strategies by now making almost $5 million in combined sales for my clients on Google Ads alone, and only for those clients that I'm working with right now. So of course there are also businesses that are not linked to my Google Ads account anymore and they don't count into this statistic. So around $5 million in sales, and here are some lessons learned from that so that hopefully you can avoid some of the mistakes that I see all the time in order to bring your Google Ads account in shape and make more money. So number one is understanding keywords properly. I see so many people that don't really know how to deal with keywords. So let's say you start a Google Shopping campaign and you get a bunch of keywords into your system, right? So you get a bunch of search queries, people looking for your product. And most people don't really know how to deal with it. So either it's like exactly what they're selling and they keep it, or it's something else and they just exclude it. But in reality, there are multiple layers and multiple levels of what you can do. So normally, let's say you sell something like technical or some electronics item where you have a very specific term for your product. In this case, of course, people that are looking exactly for that are the most valuable. But people who add something before or after that, like review and something or test or what is the best, whatever, they might still be valuable to your business if you put it into like a different campaign where you bid less, where you put less money in, but where, you know, if your landing page has some reviews and all that kind of stuff, then this might eventually still work. But the point is that you don't mix it up with all the rest, because if you bid the same amount of money for such a search query, which is obviously way less valuable than for only the product or even something like buy this and that, then this is not going to work. So you can only make the best use of keywords, whether it's shopping or search, if you segment it, if you have individual bids for individual keyword values. And this is exactly what you should be doing in order to avoid like spending more than necessary or only focusing on the very most relevant keywords, which often don't have enough search volume for you to really scale them up. Now the second thing is that you need to have a system in place. So you need to have a system to run your ads. And I don't mean that you have to, you know, stick to the numbers every single time and have something super detailed, but you should know like, okay, this is how I launch a new product, this is how I put it into a new campaign. Roughly after that, you know, many sales or ROAS, you put it into a new campaign. This is how you structure everything. Because what I see is most people just do that randomly. They start with 50 products, they test it. If something makes one sale, they maybe isolate it, maybe not. Then they test like 10 new things, and it's very problematic because if you do it that way, you don't really know what's working best. You don't manage your campaigns most effectively. You cannot really tell like if this campaign was better than the last one on an individual product basis. So what you should really do, you don't have to stick to the specific numbers all the time. Like so many people ask me, hey, when should I cancel my campaigns? How many clicks until I do that? What is the search volume? What do I do? You know, there are no exact answers to these things. This is also why I always tell people you know, I cannot give you like the generic CPC that you should always be looking for. This just doesn't make sense. But the point is, come up with a system like after so many clicks or after so many, you know, cost, I kill a product. For example, if you sell a product for $50 and after spending $50, it still didn't generate a sale, typically, you know, this is the latest point where you should actually cancel that product, actually even before that. But this is like the last, you know, definitely at this point, kill that product, right? So this is something that you need to really get used to, have these systems in place so that it's way easier to manage, especially your shopping campaigns, but also search campaigns. So always set up 3 ads, for example, always, you know, add certain ad extensions depending on the product that you're selling. Doing so will definitely make sure that you maximize your CTR, conversion rate, and minimize your cost. The third point is not knowing how to really outperform your competitors. Okay, so this is something that many businesses struggle with, and I've dedicated a full lesson on my Google Ads training, the eCom PPC Academy, to that, because people think, you know, I have a lot of competitors, so I like reduce my price, or I probably increase my bid a little bit. In reality, there are many details that you need to know if you want to be the best in shopping, if you want to crush your competition, if you want to outperform them, outspend them, outrank them. Of course, I cannot go super in detail here on that, but in general, tweak your pictures so that they stand out from the rest. Tweak your titles, your descriptions. Check the landing pages of other businesses and see, okay, what are they doing? Do they give any videos on there? Or, are they leaving some empty or some open questions for the visitor? Can you do something better than them, right? So look at your ads and your landing page as a whole. There are many things that you can twist on Google Ads and your landing page, easily dozens of things that can step by step help you to outperform them. As I said, spend less for a click, get higher rankings, get higher conversion rates, and all these kind of things. And if you do so, you will see that at some point you can make products that seem unprofitable actually work well for you, but only if you attack them on multiple angles and not only play with the bid or not only play with the price. These are some very important aspects of this whole thing, but they are definitely not the only ones. So make sure that you see your competition as a whole thing that you have to attack from a bunch of different angles to make successful campaigns. Number 4, and we kind of briefly talked about it already, having landing pages that are not optimized. So most people think that their Google Ad campaigns or their Google Ad business basically ends well after you created those ads, right? And it's tempting because it's so much easier to create a bunch of ads than it is to create a whole new landing page. But in the end, Google Ads only give you the right customers. You have to then convert them in your store. Google Ads cannot convert customers for you. They can only give you the right traffic. So I'm always amazed when people have their campaigns running and then they have those super bad stores, like way below average, but they already wasted like $1,000 on Google and they wonder why they're not converting well. Well, eventually you have good keywords, you have good ads, you get the right people, but once they land on your store, they just leave and run away, right? So one very important metric here is session duration. The more time people spend on your page, the more likely they are to convert, the higher, the better your landing page basically, because else they would leave earlier. But also things like add to carts. If you have no add to carts, it means that people are like leaving before they even get somewhat close to the sale. So tweaking your landing page, looking at competitors, seeing what they are doing some things different, but just having a landing page that looks trustworthy, has like some of the conversion elements if you want, that looks professional, that has some reviews, testimonials, stuff like this, that is easily to navigate, that is also somewhat well designed. Like, I don't believe that you should have those super boring stores. I still believe that design matters too. But if you do these things, right, even if you do just a one-time optimization project, whether you put a few hours in, whether you hire someone to do so or help you, this will absolutely help you, and I promise that you will get way more out of that than just spending like another $1,000 in ads before you optimize your landing page. Sure, the ads are extremely important. If you know how to do it properly, you will generate sales way more likely and way cheaper, but you also need a landing page that is able to convert those people. Issue number 5 is putting every product in the same campaign, mixing it all up, and also not knowing when to isolate. So this is extremely important because many people throw everything into the same campaign, and if you do so, even in a testing campaign, things can get quite difficult. So in an initial testing campaign, it is somewhat understandable that you put everything in one campaign, because you don't want to create 50 different campaigns without knowing what will do well. But at least try to put them into different ad groups if you don't have too many products, like 100 or so. So let's say you have 40 products that you want to test. What I recommend is that you create 40 individual ad groups for those campaigns, for those products, because now you can define negative keywords on the product level, something that you cannot do if you all put them into the same campaign, same ad group. So why is this so important? Well, if you have 30 products or 40 products in your campaign and they all like show up all over the place, and you look into your search term report, you will see a bunch of keywords that have nothing to do with each other. You don't know exactly which are the keywords that perform well, which one you should exclude, especially if you have products that are somewhat similar, so that they might trigger similar search queries, but the products themselves are still different. So Having one ad group per product, at least if, as I said, if you don't have too many, can be a really good idea to get the most out of your campaigns and to make more sales, to cut down on major costs and just get higher conversion rates. So do me a favor, do that, create one ad group per product, and later on when you really isolate them, when you really want to scale a product up because it got some sales and you want to, you know, adjust the bids even more effectively, then you can also put them into a separate campaign. But in the beginning, one campaign, all, you know, a whole bunch of ad groups, and this is one of the best ways to structure your products and campaigns in the beginning. And then last, number 6 is using the wrong bidding strategies, or well, not using the right ones at least, right? So bidding strategies are pretty important, and I still see a lot of people not using them the right way. What I've learned is that almost always you are pretty well off starting with manual CPC. Now this may sound kind of contradictory because if you use manual CPC, you kind of need a little bit of experience because you will set bids on the product, or well, on the ad group level or whatever, on the keyword level, and this of course requires a little more work and a little more experience when to change what. But the point is, if you have no conversion history and use something like target CPA or maximize conversions or target ROAS, this is just useless. I mean, Google doesn't know what a conversion is. Google doesn't know anything at this point really about your store and your sales and etc. So it doesn't make sense. The only automated bidding strategy that you can use in the beginning is maximize clicks, and in my opinion, it only makes sense if you have like a small budget but a large amount of products, because then you want to quickly get some clicks, quickly get data, and then it's a wise idea to use that. But it's definitely not if you just have like 10 products and a solid budget of 30 bucks or something like that. So use manual CPC or maximize clicks in the beginning. So yeah, these were my 6 tips on how to get more out of your Google Ads campaigns, how to sell more in your business. And if those tips were helpful for you, let me know in the comments. Let me know which of these you think will have the biggest impact in your business, which one you want to test first. Are you already using some of these things? Let me know, would be very curious to know. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and please subscribe to not miss on any of these things. This being said, if you want to take your Google Ads skills to the next level and, you know, go into way more detail than that, while we barely scratch the surface right here, you can learn so much more things on how to crush your competitors, pay less, make more sales, just sell predictably every single day, no matter which niche you are in. If this sounds like something that would be interesting for you, make sure to check out the eCom PPC Academy in the description, my dedicated Google Ads training for e-commerce business owners like you. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it, and hopefully see you in the next video as well. Bye bye.